I'm sitting here with Malcolm Bilson, who is zooming in from his home and he's sitting at one of his pianos. And I thought we'd start by asking you how you've been doing. I'm sure all our viewers from around the world would love to know if you're well during all these months, these very strange times that we're living in.
Just before the outbreak, I had a solo concert in the Brahms Saal in the Musikverein in Vienna, where I have played yearly for many years. And that was on March 5th, and it was not yet forbidden to fly, but I thought it a bad idea. For one thing, for several years, my wife and I, Elizabeth and I, have lived in this retirement home, this retirement community, actually, of 300 people, and going and to fly at that time and to come home and risk bringing something to these all these old folks, it just didn't like a good idea. And then I saw that people were beginning to just play from their homes and sort of play music. And again, since I live in this community, I started making videos for the community. And I did it right here at this piano, and which is an 1815 Johann Fritz copy by Paul McNulty. And I had to learn to film, I had to get a camera, I had to get a microphone, I had to learn to edit, which was very, very difficult. I mean, I'm not a Luddite, but every single step that you have to learn somehow is just very difficult. And so I've been doing that all these months. And I've been keeping myself completely busy, and I've learned this whole new thing, and I'm fine, and I've enjoyed it.
You recently got this new adventure with the Silbermann piano, also by Paul McNulty, and you've been doing stuff with it, exciting stuff with it. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Should I change the setup and go sit over there?
Sure.
So I'm sitting here now at this copy of a 1749 Gottfried Silbermann piano. I think one can really call this, in all fairness, a baroque piano, because this is modeled on and in many ways copied from the instrument that we credit being invented by Bartolomeo Cristofori around 1700 in Florence. Cristofori was interested in rendering the harpsichord more flexible, and so he threw out the plucking mechanism, which is how a harpsichord makes it sound, and substituted for a hammer mechanism that is flung up at the strings. And it is truly a gravicembalo col il piano e forte, a harpsichord that plays soft and loud. Now, this is the basic sound. Sorry. Every note has two strings, but you can also play una corda, one string, very bell-like and very seductive, the sound of this instrument. But it has a couple of other features, one of which I want to show you, which is very important. There are no pedals, but you can raise all the dampers. So this sound is not stopped when you release your hand. Now, what is that for? This is something I'm still learning. Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, son of Johann Sebastian Bach, in his Versuch, in his essay on the true art of playing keyboard instruments, talks about these pianos and praises them very much. They are especially wonderful in the undamped register, which is what that is, especially for playing free fantasies. Now, what is a free fantasy? Well, these kinds of things. Now, I'm going to play in a moment this piece, the first piece of the Well-Tempered Clavier, Volume 1. And there are a few things I want to say about that. First of all, there are in the 48 Preludes and Fugues another piece quite like this. It's just very simple, just goes through some chords. In German, you have the word preludieren, to prelude, to do something as a prelude. But what's interesting is that there's also the word that Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach uses, fantasieren, to fantasize, if you want. And I am suddenly seeing the performance of this piece as somewhere in between. And so I will raise the dampers, put this on una corda. I have to stop to do that because now I'm simply using the microphone that's in the camera. I want to use a better microphone. And after I have played that, I will play another piece which certainly is a descendant of this kind of thinking, and that is the first movement of the so-called Moonlight Sonata. And again, I have played this for many years, you know, and I've recorded it also with all the dampers raised. But suddenly I'm thinking of it, perhaps of both of these pieces, as more in the sense of fantasieren rather than